Hello friends. What truly lies behind the eyes of someone born on October 12th? On the surface, they may seem charming, intelligent, and socially graceful, but beneath that Libra calm is a storm of ambition, idealism, and quiet rebellion. This is not just another birthday, it's a cosmic intersection where intellect meets intuition and diplomacy meets desire. Let's peel back every astrological, numerological, and mystical layer to discover who the October 12th soul really is. The Libra essence, the diplomat of dreams. To be born under the sign of Libra is to live at the crossroads between beauty and truth, grace and justice, diplomacy and raw emotion. Libras, ruled by Venus, move through the world as if guided by music no one else can hear, a melody of harmony, proportion, and emotional balance. Yet for those born on October 12th, that melody carries an extra note, a subtle but powerful undertone of fire, courage, and quiet rebellion. Your soul is built not only from air, like other Libras, but from starlit steel, a blend of gentleness and unshakable conviction. Your charm is effortless, not because you rehearse it, but because it is the natural language of your being. You possess a softness that draws people near, an openness that disarms, and a mind that listens before it speaks. When you walk into a room, the energy subtly shifts. People don't always know why, but they feel lighter, calmer, as if beauty itself had arrived wearing human form. You understand people on levels they don't articulate, you hear their emotional subtext, sense their motives, and interpret their silences as fluently as their words. But you are not merely a mirror reflecting others, you are also a weaver, connecting souls with unseen threads of empathy. You see not just who someone is, but who they could become if loved in the right way, spoken to in the right tone, believed in at the right moment. That is your Venusian gift, to awaken beauty through understanding. And yet, for all your grace, there's iron behind your eyes. Those born on October 12th are not content with cosmetic harmony. You cannot endure hypocrisy masquerading as peace, nor can you stay silent in the face of injustice. The typical Libra might turn away from confrontation, but not you. Your scales tip toward truth. You'll step into the storm, smiling, and find a way to make even your resistance poetic. You carry within you a hidden streak of Scorpio intensity, a willingness to pierce through illusion. When others retreat, you lean in. You crave honesty, even when it burns. You fight for fairness, even if it costs you comfort. Your diplomacy has teeth, your kindness has edges, and your calm is not submission, it's mastery. You are a dreamer with armor, a romantic with purpose. Balance, for you, is not passive stillness but active alignment, a daily recalibration of heart and reason. You are the artist of equilibrium, constantly sculpting peace out of chaos. In you lives the philosopher and the reformer, the lover and the strategist. You understand that real beauty is not symmetry, but sincerity, not the absence of conflict, but the courage to resolve it gracefully. Every choice you make, from the clothes you wear to the causes you support, carries aesthetic and moral significance. You believe in beauty as a form of truth, and in justice as a form of art. You seek to make the world more elegant, not just in how it looks, but in how it feels. Your mind is a perpetual courtroom of ideas, where logic argues with empathy, and every verdict is reached through reflection, not reaction. You weigh everything: what to say, how to say it, when to act, when to retreat. But this deliberation is not hesitation, it's craft. You know that words can wound or heal, and you wield them like silk-covered blades. People often underestimate your strength because it comes wrapped in gentleness. But those who cross you quickly learn that your kindness is not weakness, it's a conscious choice. You forgive easily, but never forget the lesson. You'll smile at your rivals, wish them well, and quietly outthink them. Born on October 12th, you are the diplomat of dreams, the one who negotiates between heart and head, self and society, love and law. You are the bridge between extremes, the human embodiment of Venus's paradox. Tender yet tough, idealistic yet pragmatic, graceful yet formidable. Your journey in life is about learning that balance doesn't mean dividing yourself evenly between opposites, it means integrating them into something entirely new. You are harmony in motion, fairness in flesh, art in conversation. You are the quiet revolution that changes the world not with noise, but with poise. After watching, if you'd like to support the channel, click the Thanks button right under this video or use the donation alerts link in the description. Your support really helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks so much for being here. Now let's continue. Love and romance. For those born on October 12th, love is not a pastime. It's a philosophy, a quest, a sacred art. You crave connection that stirs your intellect as much as your emotions, that feels both safe and electric, balanced yet wild. Your heart is a cathedral of curiosity, always seeking someone who can match your rhythm of thought and your cadence of feeling. You don't fall in love impulsively. You ascend into it, step by step, word by word, drawn by conversation, kindness, and emotional intelligence. Your attraction begins in the mind. A clever remark, an elegant gesture, a moment of vulnerability, these are the sparks that ignite your soul. You are not seduced by appearance alone, though beauty catches your eye. You need resonance, that rare vibration of mutual understanding where silence feels like dialogue. Venus gifts you an almost magnetic allure. People are pulled toward your warmth like moths to candlelight. They see in you a reflection of their better selves, graceful, generous, emotionally fluent. Your laughter can melt tension, your empathy dissolves defenses. You make love feel like home, even to those who have never known it. Yet your Venusian idealism is both your greatest light and your softest wound. You have a tendency to romanticize, to craft people into poetry, to believe in the potential of love more than the reality of it. You imagine relationships as symphonies, perfectly orchestrated, and when life delivers a few off notes, as it inevitably does, your sensitive heart feels the discord deeply. You dream of being truly seen, wholly understood, passionately adored. But your standards are high, not materialistically, but emotionally. You want partnership that feels like partnership, not possession. You want passion that lasts longer than a season, and companionship that deepens with each year. When you love completely. You give time, attention, presence. You remember small details, the way their voice changes when they're tired, the story they told you once in passing. You are a curator of intimacy, weaving memories into meaning. But in your generosity, you sometimes lose yourself, adapting too much, pleasing too easily, compromising too far. The lesson you must learn in love is that balance applies to giving and receiving alike. Your sexuality is emotional poetry, subtle, slow, intuitive. You approach physical intimacy not as conquest, but as communion. Your sensuality is guided by curiosity, tenderness, and depth. You read your partner's energy as easily as others read a book. You want to explore, not dominate, to connect, not consume. You are drawn to lovers who stimulate your imagination, Gemini, who matches your wit, Aquarius, who expands your ideas, Leo, who mirrors your confidence and grandeur, and Sagittarius, who keeps your adventurous spirit alive. With these signs, love becomes a dance, spontaneous, cerebral, full of laughter and movement. With Cancer and Capricorn, the rhythm is slower, more introspective. They may not always understand your need for freedom, your airy unpredictability. But if they embrace your nature instead of restraining it, they can offer the grounding that helps your passion mature. What makes you exceptional in love is your emotional literacy, your ability to articulate feelings most people only half understand. You make romance both thrilling and healing, but beware of the temptation to fix others or to mold them into your ideal. True love, for you, begins when you accept imperfection, in your partner and in yourself. When you find that rare soul who can challenge you intellectually, move you emotionally, and respect your independence, you will build a bond that feels both eternal and effortless. Your relationships are not mere unions, they are art forms, living works of balance and beauty that evolve with time. And even when love breaks, you don't grow bitter. You grow wiser. You analyze, reflect, and emerge softer yet stronger, like marble shaped by the sculptor's chisel. Because for you, love isn't just something to have, it's something to be. Before we begin this expansion, if you're drawn to exploring deep emotional and creative insight through writing, you'll love AI Vibes, a free newsletter that helps you use AI for inspiration, storytelling, and everyday growth. It's full of practical guidance and creative breakthroughs designed for thinkers, writers, and dreamers. Marriage and partnership. For you, marriage is not merely a social construct or a legal document, it is a sacred merging of two life philosophies, a slow and deliberate weaving of souls who choose to walk through the chaos of existence hand in hand. When you commit, you do it with elegance and intention. You don't enter a partnership out of impulse or convenience. You enter because something profound has stirred within you, something that whispers, "This person sees me, truly sees me." As a Libra born on October 12th, you carry an almost artistic vision of marriage. To you, partnership is a living canvas, something you and your spouse paint together, not always in perfect strokes, but always with meaning. You want your life together to look beautiful, yes, but more importantly, to feel beautiful, balanced, warm, fair, harmonious. The home you create becomes a reflection of your shared spirit, filled with light, music, art, conversation, and mutual respect. You crave the comfort of companionship but also the spark of mental chemistry. Diplomacy is your superpower. When tempers flare, you don't shout, you negotiate peace with grace. You have a way of disarming conflict, of turning tension into understanding, of softening hard truths so they can be digested. Your spouse will often find that arguments with you end not in emotional wreckage but in growth, in laughter after the storm, in clarity where confusion once lived. Yet this very gift can also become your silent burden, because in your quest to maintain balance, you sometimes sacrifice your own emotional authenticity. You are the kind of partner who apologizes even when you're not at fault, simply to restore harmony. You compromise beyond what's healthy, hoping to keep love alive even when it's gasping for breath. You may stay in relationships longer than you should, not because you can't leave, but because you can't bear the imbalance that separation brings. You fear the sound of love collapsing, the silence after the symphony. And so, you endure, even when your heart quietly pleads for change. But marriage, for you, is a lifelong lesson in truth. The universe constantly pushes you toward understanding that peace is not the same as quiet, and silence is not always kindness. Real harmony requires honesty, not diplomacy that hides pain, but courage that speaks love's difficult truths. The moment you learn to voice your needs, to reveal your anger without shame, your partnerships evolve from polite coexistence into sacred communion. Your greatest gift in marriage is your ability to see the potential of love even when others give up. You believe that relationships can be healed, that hearts can be retuned, that affection can be reborn. This faith makes you the heart of the home, the one who keeps hope alive, who holds the candle during dark nights of the soul. But your greatest challenge is learning when to let go, when to understand that saving a relationship is not your responsibility alone, and that ending something gracefully can be as noble as keeping it together. You are naturally drawn to partners who embody strength with tenderness. You admire intelligence, confidence, and a sense of artistry. You fall for those who carry a spark, a dreamer's gleam, a rebel's conviction, or a thinker's depth. You're not interested in surface-level charm, you want substance with sparkle. Your ideal marriage often comes after your 30s, when time and experience have refined your understanding of love. By then, you've learned that perfection is an illusion and that the truest beauty lies in shared effort, mutual forgiveness, and the ability to laugh at life's imperfections together. You realize that love is not static, it's a negotiation between two ever-evolving souls. When you marry for the right reasons, not out of fear, not out of idealism, but from grounded, conscious love, you create a partnership that glows quietly through the years. Together, you and your spouse build not just a life but a philosophy of connection, a shared rhythm of respect, affection, and purpose. And in that rhythm, you find what every Libra secretly seeks, the balance between devotion and freedom, between passion and peace, sexuality and intimacy. Your sexuality is a language, refined, soulful, intuitive, a dialect of affection and curiosity that you speak fluently. To you, physical intimacy is not merely an act of desire. It's a dialogue of trust, a sacred form of emotional storytelling. Every gesture, every sigh, every glance carries meaning. When you connect physically, it's never shallow, it's the most eloquent conversation two bodies can have. For those born on October 12th, lovemaking is not about dominance or power, it's about resonance. You crave partners who can match your rhythm, not just in touch but in thought. You find passion in subtlety, a whisper that lingers, a gaze that holds, a hand that hesitates just long enough to spark imagination. You understand that intimacy begins long before the lights dim. It begins in laughter, in shared secrets, in the slow unwrapping of emotional layers. Foreplay for you is psychological. A clever exchange of ideas, a witty conversation, a teasing compliment, these are what awaken your senses. You fall in love through the mind, and once your intellect is engaged, your physical passion follows effortlessly. You are fascinated by the art of connection, by how two people can explore not only bodies but boundaries, fantasies, vulnerabilities, and dreams. You move between tenderness and intensity with seamless grace. To your lover, you are both safe harbor and wild storm, comforting one moment, electric the next. Your sensuality carries emotional intelligence. You read your partner's desires like a symphony, adapting your rhythm to theirs. You don't rush, you savor. Every kiss is intentional, every touch deliberate, every silence meaningful. You see intimacy as a canvas where emotion paints in invisible colors. But for all your beauty and passion, you have one unyielding truth: passion without emotional depth feels hollow. You cannot separate your heart from your body. When intimacy lacks soul, it drains you instead of igniting you. You long for the kind of connection that feels like both surrender and safety, where you can dissolve the boundaries of self and still feel entirely understood. When you find a lover who meets you there, who values presence over performance, curiosity over control, your sensuality becomes transcendent. You create an atmosphere where every touch feels sacred, where time slows, where love becomes meditation. Your physical expression is not just about pleasure, it's about healing. You use affection to soothe pain, to rebuild trust, to speak truths too fragile for words. Your lovers often describe you as gentle yet daring, a paradox that keeps them endlessly intrigued. You bring a sense of ceremony to intimacy, turning simple acts into moments of reverence. You believe that bodies carry emotion, that every embrace is a form of prayer. However, you must guard against idealizing sex the way you sometimes idealize love. Not every encounter can be cinematic, not every connection will transcend. Learning to enjoy physical closeness for what it is, spontaneous, imperfect, human, frees you from disappointment. Emotionally, your sensual side is most compatible with partners who are open-minded and emotionally present. Gemini engages your mind, Aquarius meets your curiosity, Leo mirrors your warmth and flair, Sagittarius keeps the fire of exploration alive. These signs can match your rhythm and make intimacy feel like an adventure rather than a transaction. For you, true intimacy is not just about what happens in the body, it's about what happens afterward. The quiet cuddle, the shared laughter, the lingering connection. You need to feel that your lover not only touched you but saw you, not only satisfied you but understood you. In the end, your sexuality is a celebration of love in its purest form, a bridge between soul and flesh, thought and feeling, beauty and truth. You embody Venus's finest lesson, that intimacy, when rooted in trust and curiosity, is not only pleasure but art, and that the truest form of seduction is presence. Friendship and social life. Friendship, for those born on October 12th, is not merely a pleasant accessory to life, it is the living architecture of your emotional world, the invisible network that sustains your spirit. You treat friendship as both an art and a moral code, believing that genuine connection is one of the most beautiful manifestations of human intelligence. You are drawn to people who make you think, who challenge your opinions without crushing your optimism, who can debate one moment and laugh the next. Your friendships often resemble long, intricate conversations that never quite end. They pause, evolve, deepen, but never truly stop. People are magnetized by your fairness. You have the rare gift of listening without judgment, of holding another's story as gently as if it were a fragile glass orb. When a friend confides in you, they feel heard not only by your ears but by your entire presence. You don't interrupt, you don't rush to solve, you absorb, reflect, and then respond with insight that feels both compassionate and precise. You are the person who sees the best in others even when they have forgotten it themselves. You tend to gather friends from all corners of life, poets and scientists, dreamers and strategists, introverts who whisper and extroverts who roar. You are the bridge between worlds, the one who can translate between wildly different personalities. In your social life, you are the quiet conductor of harmony, ensuring that everyone feels included, that conversations flow, that no one is left standing alone in the metaphorical corner. Yet this same empathy that makes you beloved can also be your heaviest burden. You often take on more emotional responsibility than is yours to bear. You are so attuned to the feelings of others that you sometimes mistake their pain for your own. When a friend suffers, you feel compelled to fix it, to soothe, to advise, to rescue. But the truth is, not everyone wants saving, and not every wound is yours to heal. Learning this boundary is one of your most important emotional lessons. At times, you exhaust yourself trying to maintain peace between friends, mediating conflicts, softening sharp words, absorbing tension like a human buffer. You do it out of love, but in the process, you can lose sight of your own emotional equilibrium. There will come a point in your life when you must recognize that your empathy is a sacred resource, not an endless supply. True friends will understand when you step back to recharge. They will not take your silence as distance, but as proof of your humanity. When you do withdraw, it's not isolation you seek but restoration. Solitude for you is like cleaning the palette before painting again. It's in quiet moments that your mind rebalances, that your empathy recalibrates, that your sense of self returns to its rightful center. You emerge from solitude not hardened but clarified, a truer, stronger version of yourself. Your ideal friendships are built on shared creativity and mutual respect. You are naturally drawn to artists, writers, designers, and thinkers who see the world through an imaginative lens. These relationships feed your intellect and nourish your aesthetic soul. Conversations with such friends often spiral into philosophy, dreams, and laughter that feels like music. You crave connection that isn't shallow. You want to talk about purpose, art, ethics, the invisible structure of meaning that binds human lives together. At the same time, your friendships often intertwine with humanitarian impulses. You are naturally inclined to gather people around causes, community projects, art exhibitions, charity events, social reform. You believe that friendship is most alive when it extends beyond comfort into contribution. You and your circle might start as companions, but over time you become collaborators in something larger, the pursuit of beauty, justice, or creative evolution. In social settings, your elegance radiates quietly. You're rarely the loudest in the room, but people gravitate toward your presence because it feels safe and genuine. Your laughter, though subtle, carries warmth. You have that rare ability to make every person you speak with feel like they matter, because to you, they truly do. You remember names, stories, preferences. You weave invisible threads of care between moments. Still, your social grace should never be mistaken for superficiality. You have no patience for gossip, manipulation, or false flattery. If a friendship becomes rooted in pretense, you'll slowly, gracefully, step away, not out of cruelty, but out of loyalty to your own peace. You value authenticity above popularity, integrity above attention. Your social life matures beautifully with age. In youth, you might collect acquaintances like bright pebbles, fascinated by variety. But as you grow, you begin to cherish depth over number, substance over novelty. Your closest circle may shrink, but its emotional gravity strengthens. These enduring friendships become the mirrors through which you see yourself more clearly, people who challenge you, forgive you, remind you of your ideals when the world feels heavy. And yet, for all your elegance and rational charm, you are not immune to loneliness. There are times when you stand amid a crowd and feel strangely unseen, when you long for connection that penetrates the surface of conversation. This melancholy is part of your Libran duality, the ache that beauty alone cannot fill. But it also keeps your friendships sincere, because you never take genuine closeness for granted. To be your friend is to enter a world where kindness is deliberate, laughter is sacred, and loyalty is quiet but unwavering. Your friendships are not transactional, they are transformational. You don't simply share time, you share growth. You make people feel that they are, in some profound way, becoming more themselves simply by knowing you. Career and business. In the realm of work and ambition, those born on October 12 are masters of the middle ground, the rare souls who understand that success is not about domination but orchestration. You approach your career like a chessboard, balancing intuition with logic, creativity with structure, diplomacy with decision. There's a part of you that wants to build, and another that wants to beautify. The result is a professional life that is both elegant and effective. Your mind is a strategic instrument, a blend of artistry and analysis. You see patterns where others see chaos, possibilities where others see problems. You have a gift for perceiving the emotional climate of a room, an unspoken awareness of tone and balance that makes you a natural negotiator. Whether you're managing a team, designing a project, or navigating office politics, you instinctively seek equilibrium. You know when to speak, when to listen, and when silence itself becomes the most persuasive argument. You thrive in collaborative spaces where intelligence and imagination intersect. You need dialogue, creativity, exchange. You perform best when your ideas can breathe, when you're surrounded by people who inspire rather than compete. You could excel in law, where justice and logic intertwine, in design, where beauty meets practicality, in media or diplomacy, where words and nuance shape reality. You're also suited to entrepreneurship, but not the cutthroat kind. You prefer to build enterprises that reflect your values, ventures that harmonize profit with purpose. Your leadership style is magnetic yet gentle. You don't demand respect, you earn it by consistency and fairness. You lead not from ego but from empathy, understanding that people work best when they feel seen. You are skilled at identifying potential in others and helping them find the right balance between freedom and responsibility. When conflict arises, you diffuse it with tact. When teams falter, you restore morale by reminding them of the beauty in shared vision. But your gift for diplomacy can also be a trap. Your desire to please everyone sometimes leads to indecision. You want harmony so deeply that you may delay necessary confrontations, fearing to disrupt the peace you've so carefully cultivated. Yet real leadership, as you eventually learn, demands courage. The courage to choose a side, to say no, to act decisively even when unanimity is impossible. You must remind yourself that not choosing is itself a choice, often the least productive one. Progress demands movement, and movement, by definition, unbalances something. Once you embrace this truth, your professional power magnifies exponentially. You become not just a harmonizer, but a visionary, someone who can transform ideas into reality without losing grace. Financially, you have a refined sense of value. You understand that wealth, like art, must have purpose. You don't chase money for its own sake. You see it as a tool to create freedom, stability, and beauty. You prefer to earn through creativity, intellect, or negotiation rather than risk or aggression. When you succeed, you do so with dignity. Aesthetics play an unusual role in your career. You care deeply about your work environment, the lighting, the textures, the flow of space. You believe that surroundings influence performance, and you're right. You cultivate spaces that mirror your inner balance, calm yet stimulating, structured yet inviting. People enjoy working with you not only because you're capable, but because you make work feel better. Your business relationships mirror your friendships, respectful, loyal, guided by principle. You despise deceit, backroom manipulation, and empty promises. When you give your word, you mean it. When you form partnerships, you expect mutual integrity. You will never climb by stepping on others. It violates your inner sense of justice. Over time, you may discover that your ultimate career calling involves mediation, design, or social reform, any field where you can bridge the gap between vision and reality. You were not born to operate in chaos but to refine it, to turn dissonance into melody. You are at your best when your work feels like service, to beauty, to fairness, to connection. As you mature, your career becomes less about external validation and more about internal coherence. You'll measure success not by titles or applause, but by peace of mind, by how aligned your actions feel with your ideals. Your destiny is not to dominate the world, but to refine it, to leave behind something more elegant, more balanced, more humane than you found it. When others chase victory, you chase harmony. And paradoxically, that's why you win. Dark sides and inner conflicts. Every Libra carries the illusion of calm like a perfectly tailored suit, smooth, elegant, effortless. But beneath the surface of those born on October 12 lies a secret storm, a quiet unrest that few ever see. You wear serenity on your face the way a painter hides brushstrokes under varnish. To the world, you are balance incarnate, yet within, your thoughts often clash like opposing tides, self-belief against self-doubt, desire against duty, authenticity against the urge to please. The battlefield of your mind is subtle but relentless. You crave peace, but you also crave perfection, and these two hungers are forever at war. You fear letting anyone down, friends, lovers, colleagues, even strangers, as though every disappointment chips away at your worth. Your charm, your diplomacy, your empathy, all stem from that deep-seated wish to be loved not for your performance, but for your essence. Yet paradoxically, you keep performing, polishing your edges, managing impressions, as if unconditional acceptance is something you must earn rather than something you deserve. This constant quest for validation can become a gilded cage. You measure yourself through reflections, applause, compliments, admiration, and when those reflections fade, you begin to question whether you exist as vividly without them. You want your presence to feel meaningful, your life to look graceful, your relationships to run smoothly. But perfection is a mirage. The closer you walk toward it, the further it recedes. There is also a quiet perfectionism that hides behind your smile. You long for harmony in all things, in your home, your career, your emotions, even your wardrobe, and when life refuses to cooperate, you take it personally. A harsh word, a broken plan, a single dissonant note in your carefully composed symphony can send your mood spiraling. You want to control chaos, to turn every jagged edge into art. But the truth, the brutal, liberating truth, is that beauty is born from imperfection, not the absence of it. When the scales within you tip too far into turmoil, your instinct is to retreat. You disappear not in anger but in silence, like a painter stepping back from an unfinished canvas. Denial becomes a refuge. You may convince yourself that ignoring conflict will dissolve it, that stillness equals serenity. But deep down, you know that peace built on avoidance is fragile, a glass tower trembling under the weight of truth. The challenge of your soul is to learn that calm does not mean control. You must embrace the mess, the uncertainty, the unpredictability of being human. You are not meant to glide through life untouched. You are meant to dance with its contradictions. When you stop resisting imperfection and begin to see its strange symmetry, your life softens, your spirit expands, and your light grows truer. Another layer of your inner conflict lies in your duality, the diplomat and the warrior within you. The Libra in you wants everyone to get along, to find the middle ground, to preserve beauty even at the cost of truth. But the deeper, Scorpio-like current in your soul cannot stand falseness. It demands honesty, even if it burns bridges. This tug of war between grace and authenticity can exhaust you. Some days, you choose diplomacy and feel false. Other days, you choose truth and feel guilty. Only when you realize that both impulses are sacred, that love can coexist with confrontation, do you finally achieve the balance you were born to master. You fear being seen as flawed, yet it is your flaws that make you magnetic. Your empathy comes from your wounds, your wisdom from your doubts. When you allow others to glimpse your vulnerability, they don't love you less, they love you more deeply. The very imperfection you hide is the bridge through which real intimacy enters your life. The darkness in you is not evil, it is simply your light turned inward, searching for equilibrium. The same perfectionism that haunts you also fuels your artistry. The same need for validation that burdens you also drives your compassion. Every shadow in your psyche serves a purpose. Every internal contradiction is a doorway to greater understanding. The goal is not to eliminate your darkness, but to converse with it, to let it teach you grace. Your greatest liberation comes the moment you realize you are not here to be flawless, you are here to be whole. To stumble, to break, to rebuild, to shine again. To love yourself not for your symmetry but for your sincerity. When you stop hiding behind balance and start embracing the beauty of your imbalance, you stop merely surviving, and begin to live. Life goals and destiny. The destiny of those born on October 12th is written in the language of bridges, between hearts and minds, reason and emotion, art and justice. You were born to connect worlds that seem irreconcilable, to find harmony in paradox, to weave threads between people who stand on opposite sides of life's great divides. You are the embodiment of Libra's highest aspiration, to restore balance not through compromise but through transformation. Your purpose is not a small one. You are a voice of equilibrium in a world that thrives on extremes. While others shout from their corners, you stand in the center, speaking the language of unity. You have the rare ability to understand multiple perspectives simultaneously, to see through the eyes of the dreamer and the realist, the skeptic and the believer. That's why people often come to you for guidance. You don't simply mediate, you elevate. You help others rise above conflict into comprehension. But your gift is not limited to conversation or counsel, it extends into creation. Whether through art, design, teaching, law, or spiritual mentorship, you have a destiny to make beauty serve justice and make justice feel beautiful. You are a reformer disguised as an artist, a philosopher hidden in a lover's skin. You sense that fairness is not an abstract idea, it's something that can be designed into life itself, shaped like architecture, composed like music. You are not meant to follow the crowd, for crowds rarely move with grace. You are meant to redefine what harmony looks like in your time. Where others see broken systems, you see blueprints for restoration. Where others see chaos, you see potential order waiting for an elegant touch. Your destiny is to create frameworks, social, creative, emotional, that allow others to coexist more peacefully. Many born on this day find themselves drawn to professions that require mediation, judgment, or vision: psychology, law, diplomacy, architecture, design, counseling, the arts. In each of these paths, your deeper mission remains the same: to reconcile opposites, to bring balance through understanding. Even if you never hold an official title, you fulfill this purpose simply by the way you move through the world, by how you listen, how you speak, how you make others feel seen. But this destiny is not easily achieved. To bring harmony to others, you must first find it within yourself. Life will continually test your equilibrium. You will encounter moments that force you to choose between peace and truth, comfort and authenticity, safety and purpose. Each choice refines your soul, shaping you into a master of subtle strength. Your failures are not deviations from your path, they are the path. They teach you what balance truly means, not stillness, but resilience in motion. At your highest potential, you become a symbol of elegance with integrity. You prove that gentleness and power are not opposites, that empathy can coexist with authority, that love can lead as effectively as logic. People follow you not because you demand it, but because your composure inspires trust. You remind the world that refinement is not weakness, it is strength exercised with grace. Your legacy will be measured not only by what you build but by how you make others feel in your presence: calmer, clearer, more centered. You will leave behind art that heals, words that reconcile, or systems that uplift. You will touch lives you may never meet simply by setting a standard of balance in a world addicted to chaos. Ultimately, your soul's purpose is to teach the lesson that balance is not the opposite of change, but its most exquisite expression. You were not sent here to live quietly between opposites. You were sent here to harmonize them into something transcendent. The bridge you build, between self and society, heart and mind, love and truth, will outlast you. It will become your true monument, invisible but enduring, like the quiet order of the stars. Numerology, the power of the number 3. October 12 reduces to the number 3, a vibration that hums with the rhythm of creation itself. It is the number of storytellers, artists, teachers, and communicators, those who give shape to the unseen through words, sound, color, and motion. The number 3 is the laughter of the universe translated into human form, a vibration that turns chaos into art, ideas into dialogue, emotion into melody. Those born under its influence do not merely live, they express. You are here to give voice to feeling, to articulate beauty, to turn the intangible currents of inspiration into something the world can see, hear, or feel. This number blesses you with an aura of vitality, a brightness that others sense long before they know you. There's a spark in your words, a musicality in your gestures, a cadence in your thoughts. You make people lean closer without realizing why. When you speak, you seem to pull threads of emotion out of the air and weave them into sentences that shimmer with meaning. When you create, whether you paint, sing, write, or design, you are not simply performing, you are translating something divine. You are a vessel for joy. But joy, for you, is not shallow or naive. It is a philosophy, a rebellion against cynicism, a deliberate choice to see beauty in imperfection. The number 3 teaches that lightness is not denial, it is strength disguised as laughter. You instinctively understand that humor heals, that color uplifts, that storytelling connects people who would otherwise remain strangers. Through your words and creations, you give others permission to feel. You are the poet in the courtroom, the artist in the boardroom, the dreamer who finds a way to make fantasy useful. You carry the charisma of someone born to be seen, but it's not arrogance, it's energy, radiant and generous. People respond to you because you radiate possibility. You remind them of what life could feel like if they stopped guarding their hearts and started dancing with existence. But with this light comes a shadow, the seductive chaos of distraction. You are endlessly curious, easily inspired, intoxicated by ideas. You begin with passion, you burst into projects, you fall in love with possibility, and sometimes, you scatter your brilliance so widely that it fails to take root. The number 3 is a gift, but it demands discipline. Your creativity is volcanic, vivid, explosive, unpredictable. To harness it, you must become both artist and architect, dreamer and craftsman. Inspiration will always come easily, completion will not. The challenge of your numerological path is to channel your enthusiasm into structure, to honor your ideas by finishing what you start. When your imagination and your willpower finally synchronize, you become unstoppable, a force of elegance and innovation. When the number 3 matures, it becomes not just expressive but influential. Your words begin to heal, your art begins to teach, your laughter becomes medicine. You move beyond entertainment into elevation, helping others see their own beauty reflected through your work. In numerology, 3 represents the triangle, the sacred geometry of connection between mind, body, and spirit. You are at your best when all 3 are aligned, when your thoughts are honest, your emotions are clear, and your actions are consistent. This number also aligns you with Venus, the planet of art, grace, and relational harmony. Under her influence, your creativity is never detached from your humanity. You don't just create for applause, you create to connect. Your work, your words, even your presence, are meant to bring people closer together, to soften conflict through empathy, to remind the world that beauty is a form of truth. The harmony you seek in life is the same harmony you produce in art, the merging of passion and balance, emotion and elegance. The danger of your path is restlessness, the temptation to chase novelty rather than depth, to abandon one masterpiece for another before either is complete. You must remember, joy grows deeper when it is given time to mature. Your enthusiasm is a flame, discipline is the hearth that keeps it burning. Without one, the other fades too soon. But when they coexist, you become a living embodiment of divine creativity, the bridge between inspiration and reality. At your highest potential, you transform everyday moments into art. You see stories in faces, poetry in conversations, rhythm in ordinary noise. You make the mundane sacred simply by noticing it. That is the secret power of 3, to find eternity in the instant, to make others feel the pulse of life beating beneath the surface of the ordinary. The number 3 calls you to celebrate existence through creation. It asks you not to perfect your art, but to live it. It reminds you that laughter can be holy, that color can be truth, that beauty itself is a kind of prayer. When you understand this, you no longer chase inspiration, you become it. The Celtic Druid Horoscope. According to the Celtic tree zodiac, those born between October 4th and October 13th belong to the Rowan tree, the tree of vision. In ancient Druidic lore, the rowan was sacred to the goddess Brigid, protector of poets and seers, and was said to guard the boundary between the seen and the unseen. To be born under its branches is to inherit a mind that sees through illusions, a heart that senses the invisible architecture of truth. You, child of the rowan, are both thinker and mystic. You possess a quiet wisdom that moves beneath your charm, a subtle awareness of how life connects. While others perceive the surface, you perceive the pattern, the threads between moments, the echoes between emotions, the hidden rhythm that underlies events. Your intuition doesn't shout, it whispers, elegantly and insistently, guiding you toward understanding before facts can confirm it. Rowan people are visionaries not because they dream wildly, but because they observe deeply. You notice details that others miss, the flicker in someone's eyes before they speak, the mood that shifts in a room before anyone moves. This sensitivity gives you foresight. You can sense future trends, feel when change is approaching, predict outcomes not through logic alone but through a kind of refined empathy. You are tuned to life's undercurrents like a musician to melody. The Druids believed the rowan tree stood at the gate between worlds, rooted in earth, crowned in sky, its berries like drops of fire symbolizing protection and inspiration. Likewise, you stand between dimensions, intellect and intuition, science and spirit, art and analysis. You embody balance, a Libran virtue amplified by the rowan's clarity. You live in 2 languages at once, reason and revelation. Your presence is calm but not simple. Beneath your grace runs intensity, a burning curiosity that never sleeps. You are drawn to questions of meaning, morality, and beauty. You want to understand not only how the world works, but why. You could spend hours lost in conversation about philosophy, psychology, or the hidden metaphors of myth. Knowledge, for you, is not power, it is nourishment. You study people not to judge them, but to comprehend the poetry of their contradictions. In relationships, you are both anchor and compass. Friends and partners come to you for clarity when confusion clouds their minds. Your insight feels almost supernatural to them, and in truth, it is a kind of modern magic, the ability to see essence beneath disguise. Yet you must learn to protect your energy, for your sensitivity can make you vulnerable. Like the rowan tree, whose red berries ward off evil, you too need boundaries to guard your emotional roots. The gift of the rowan is foresight, but foresight can be lonely. You often feel ahead of your time, sensing changes before others are ready to face them. It can make you restless, even alienated, as if you were living slightly in the future while the world lags behind. But this distance is also your strength. You were born to be a guide, not a follower. Your task is not to rush others, but to illuminate the path gently, with patience and compassion. Your destiny as a rowan soul is to blend intellect with imagination, to create bridges between the mystical and the practical. You are the philosopher who writes poetry, the scientist who prays, the artist who analyzes. You remind the world that vision without discipline is chaos, but logic without wonder is hollow. Through you, others learn that wisdom can wear beauty's face. The ancient Celts saw the rowan as a symbol of protection and enlightenment. They planted it near doorways to invite inspiration and ward off despair. In the same way, your presence in the lives of others acts as a guardian energy. You protect through understanding, inspire through empathy, and challenge through insight. You don't tell people what to think, you show them how to see. Ultimately, being born under the rowan tree means living a life of connection, between the visible and invisible, the rational and emotional, the earthly and divine. You are not merely intuitive, you are prophetic in the quietest sense. Your mind travels ahead, sketching the outlines of futures not yet realized, while your heart remains anchored in beauty and truth. You are, in essence, a living bridge, a human Rowan, rooted in wisdom, reaching always toward light. Vedic Indian Astrology. In the intricate web of Vedic astrology, the ancient celestial language of India, your soul was born beneath the subtle border between Kanya Virgo and Tula Libra, a sacred meeting point of intellect and grace, precision and poise. This cusp of earth and air bestows upon you a dual brilliance, the analytical mind of Kanya and the aesthetic harmony of Tula. You possess the Virgoan devotion to detail, discipline, and improvement, yet you filter it through the Libran longing for balance, beauty, and justice. In you, the practicality of earth marries the refinement of air, and the result is a person capable not only of analyzing truth but also of elevating it into art. Vedic astrology views life as an unfolding of karma, the continual dance of cause and consequence. You were born under the influence of karma yoga, the path of service. This means your highest spiritual expression emerges not from isolation or dominance, but from contributing to others through fairness, wisdom, and compassion. You are here to refine the world, not by force, but by example. You teach through elegance, lead through understanding, and heal through empathy. Your intellect is not meant to dominate, it is meant to illuminate. Your nakshatra, or lunar mansion, likely falls under Swati, ruled by Vayu, the wind god. In Sanskrit, Swati translates to the independent one, symbolized by a young plant swaying freely in the breeze yet rooted in its place. This image defines your essence perfectly. You are adaptable but anchored, curious yet committed, airy yet disciplined. Like the wind, you move through life gracefully, carrying ideas and inspiration wherever you go. You crave freedom, not rebellion, but expansion, the kind of liberty that allows your spirit to evolve, your mind to explore, your creativity to breathe. Vayu's influence fills you with movement, both physical and mental. You are rarely stagnant, your thoughts travel far and fast. Your interests shift like clouds, always seeking new horizons of learning. But with this gift comes the challenge of restlessness. You can scatter your energy across too many pursuits, chasing intellectual stimulation while neglecting emotional grounding. The spiritual lesson of Swati is to learn stillness within motion, to be the calm center in your own whirlwind. Swati natives are known for their grace, diplomacy, and refined communication, qualities that align seamlessly with Libra's Western archetype. You can sense unspoken tensions and resolve them with tact before they escalate. Your words carry a soft authority, they soothe, persuade, and unite. In ancient Vedic texts, Swati was said to embody prana, the life breath, symbolizing how you breathe vitality into everything you touch, whether it's art, conversation, or relationships. Your gift is to make others feel lighter, freer, more connected simply by being in your presence. However, the wind's gift can also be its curse. If untamed, it becomes a storm, scattered, inconsistent, difficult to direct. You may sometimes drift between dreams, relationships, or careers, searching for something that feels like home. The key is not to suppress your need for freedom but to give it purpose. When you anchor your independence in responsibility, your creativity becomes divine service. You were not meant to settle into one rigid path. You were meant to master the art of graceful flexibility, to flow without losing form. Your dharma, your soul's purpose, revolves around balance. In every lifetime, your spirit returns to this theme, to find equilibrium between independence and connection, logic and love, movement and stillness. Your chart whispers that your growth comes not from choosing one side, but from learning to hold both. You are the artist who builds structures and the scholar who dreams. The universe uses you as a bridge between the practical and the poetic, between karma and creativity. Because your essence blends Kanya's precision with Tula's harmony, you possess an extraordinary eye for refinement. Whether in art, architecture, writing, or even emotional communication, you seek symmetry, not superficial order, but the deeper harmony of truth and beauty working together. Your service to the world lies in this synthesis. You make things more balanced simply by touching them: people, systems, spaces, hearts. In relationships, your Swati nature makes you a gentle yet powerful partner. You need room to breathe, yet you thrive on connection. You don't want chains. You want cords, invisible strings that connect you to another soul without restricting your movement. The Vedic texts describe Swati-born individuals as those who move like air but bind through love. You love through presence, not possession. When you trust that you can remain free while being loved, you discover the deepest peace of your life. Spiritually, Swati invites you to explore the inner sky. Meditation, breathwork, and mantra are particularly potent for you because they align with your elemental essence, air. Through breath, you balance your restless energy and align with the universal rhythm. Each inhale becomes a reminder of your freedom. Each exhale, a reminder of your rootedness. You were born to master this sacred balance, the dance between expansion and stillness, individuality and unity. Your chart also suggests an affinity for Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, art, and eloquence. Her name even carries the vibration of your nakshatra. She blesses you with refinement of expression and a thirst for knowledge that never fades. You are, in essence, a seeker of harmony in all things, the poet who studies, the scholar who feels, the artist who thinks. When you align your work with your higher principles, you become a true vessel of karma yoga, serving the world not through sacrifice, but through beauty made meaningful. In your Vedic path, success is measured not in wealth or fame but in inner symmetry, when your intellect, compassion, and creativity move as one current. You are meant to live like the wind, invisible, essential, and free, leaving behind clarity, peace, and inspiration in every place you pass. The flower horoscope. In the flower zodiac, your symbol is the rose, the timeless embodiment of love, passion, and paradox. The rose does not apologize for its complexity. It is both delicate and fierce, vulnerable and resilient, fragrant and thorned. It offers beauty without begging for it to be understood. To be born under its influence is to carry a heart that feels deeply and expresses even deeper. A heart that understands that true beauty is inseparable from contrast. You are the human equivalent of this sacred bloom, captivating, layered, endlessly expressive. There's an unmistakable grace in how you move through the world, but also a quiet strength behind it. People are drawn to your charm as bees are drawn to the scent of roses, instinctively, irresistibly. You radiate warmth, empathy, and elegance, yet beneath that softness lies a will of steel. You do not yield easily. Your boundaries, like thorns, protect your essence from those who mistake kindness for weakness. The rose teaches the lesson of balance between openness and self-protection, a theme that echoes through your entire astrological tapestry. You want to love freely, but you also fear being wounded. You long to be seen, yet you guard your most authentic self until trust is earned. This duality does not make you contradictory, it makes you human in the most exquisite way. Your life's emotional rhythm often alternates between bloom and retreat, between moments of radiant vulnerability and seasons of quiet self-preservation. Your beauty, physical, emotional, and spiritual, is never merely superficial. It comes from depth, from your ability to feel life in full color. You find poetry in pain, meaning in heartbreak, and wisdom in longing. Like the rose that grows from the soil of decay, you transform your sorrows into art, your disappointments into strength. You understand instinctively that love, to be real, must risk pain, and you face that risk with courage disguised as grace. Roses also symbolize devotion and artistry. Your presence is a living invitation to appreciate life's subtleties, the way light filters through a curtain, the cadence of laughter, the scent of memory. You notice what others overlook, and you tend to life the way a gardener tends to a garden, nurturing, pruning, arranging until it breathes harmony. Yet, like every gardener, you must also learn when to step back and allow growth to happen naturally. In relationships, you love with totality. When your heart opens, it's not halfway, it's a symphony. You give attention as a gift, affection as an art form, loyalty as a vow. But the rose within you needs care in return. When neglected or taken for granted, your petals close, not in bitterness but in self-preservation. The people who truly love you learn to handle you with reverence, not fearfully, but with awareness of your depth. Your ruling flower also mirrors your connection to Venus, planet of love and beauty, which deepens your appreciation for aesthetics and emotional authenticity. You cannot thrive in environments that are harsh, ugly, or dishonest. You seek surroundings that reflect serenity and artistry, spaces that bloom, like you, with intention. Even in simple things, a meal, a conversation, a home, you seek the fragrance of meaning. Spiritually, the rose symbolizes the heart chakra, the seat of compassion and divine love. Your life path calls you to open this center fully, to love not only romantically but universally. Each act of kindness, each creation, each word of understanding you offer becomes a petal unfolding toward enlightenment. You are both the gardener and the bloom, nurturing others while learning to nurture yourself. Your greatest transformation occurs when you realize that the thorns are not flaws, they are guardians of your tenderness. Without them, your beauty would wither under the weight of the world. With them, you endure. You remind others that love without strength is fragile, and strength without love is barren. In your essence, you are a living rose, timeless, passionate, ever-evolving. You were born to teach others the art of blooming without apology, to embody the truth that vulnerability is not weakness but a form of courage, that every petal, even the ones scarred by storms, adds to the story of your beauty. You are both creation and creator, fragrance and form, the eternal reminder that love, when cultivated with wisdom, never fades, it only deepens. The stone horoscope. Your birthstones, opal and lapis lazuli, are not just beautiful ornaments, they are living metaphors for the essence of your soul. Together, they form a dialogue between imagination and insight, between emotion and truth. These stones are your silent companions through life's transformations, whispering reminders of who you truly are when the noise of the world threatens to drown out your inner voice. Opal, first, is your celestial muse, a prism of captured fire, a gem that seems to hold the colors of 1,000 dawns inside its translucent heart. In ancient times, it was believed to contain the energy of all precious stones combined, symbolizing not one virtue but the full spectrum of human experience. To wear opal is to invite inspiration, to open the door between thought and feeling, logic and fantasy. Its shifting light mirrors the fluidity of your own emotions, your ability to feel deeply and express vividly. You were not made to experience life in muted tones. You were born to feel in color, to turn what others suppress into art, language, beauty. Opal is the artist's talisman, and for you, it becomes a mirror to the creative soul that lives within. It amplifies your sensitivity, yes, but also your courage to translate that sensitivity into expression. It asks you to stop censoring your heart and start trusting it. When life feels gray, when routine dulls your imagination, opal reignites the inner flame. Its message is simple yet profound. Creation is healing, and your emotions are not weaknesses but instruments. You were designed to feel everything so that you could transmute it. But opal is also a stone of honesty, emotional honesty. Its shimmering surface hides depths that can only be appreciated when light moves across it, and this mirrors your own emotional truth. You cannot be understood in stillness, only in motion. Your moods, like the opal's hues, shift with experience. They are not contradictions but compositions, ever-changing notes in your symphony of becoming. This stone reminds you to embrace your fluidity, to stop apologizing for feeling too much or too often. Sensitivity is not fragility, it's your superpower. Then comes lapis lazuli, your second guardian stone, the philosopher's jewel, the ancient keeper of wisdom. Its deep blue hue, flecked with golden pyrite, resembles a night sky lit by starlight, a perfect metaphor for your inner world, dark with mystery, yet illuminated by insight. In the temples of ancient Egypt, lapis was the stone of truth and divinity. It adorned the eyes of pharaohs and the sarcophagi of queens. To hold it was to hold clarity. For you, it serves as both shield and compass, guarding your integrity while pointing you toward self-realization. Lapis opens your Ajna chakra, the third eye, the seat of intuition and higher understanding. This is why, when you are aligned, your perception seems almost supernatural. You read between the lines, sense motives beneath words, feel the atmosphere of a room before you enter it. But lapis also demands something in return, Honesty. It compels you to speak your truth even when silence feels safer, to live according to your values even when the world encourages compromise. Its lesson is not comfort but authenticity. Together, opal and lapis lazuli form a sacred polarity, heart and mind, color and clarity, emotion and reason. Opal stirs your imagination, while lapis gives it structure. One encourages you to feel more, the other teaches you to understand what you feel. One gives you the courage to dream, the other ensures those dreams serve a purpose. This duality reflects your Libra essence perfectly, a constant balancing act between chaos and control, freedom and order, art and intellect. When you combine the energies of these two stones, you become unstoppable. Opal's passion ignites your creative fire, while lapis keeps it from burning out of control. Together, they help you live as the artist of your own destiny, crafting beauty not just from inspiration but from wisdom. They remind you that your voice is sacred, your vision rare, and your individuality essential. You were never meant to blend into the crowd. Your soul signed up for a life that leaves color where others see gray. These stones whisper that your uniqueness is not a burden, it is your greatest form of service to the world. Opal encourages you to feel everything. Lapis teaches you to speak your truth. When you let them work in harmony, they awaken your inner alchemist, the part of you that transforms vulnerability into power, confusion into clarity, dreams into reality. Wear them, meditate with them, or simply remember their lessons. Creativity thrives when the heart is open and the mind is honest. You do not need to choose between the two, you were born to embody both. Your aura, when aligned with these stones, radiates a subtle but undeniable power, the kind that doesn't shout but resonates. It's the kind of beauty that makes people pause without knowing why, that draws admiration without demand. It's your signature energy, soft yet commanding, artistic yet wise, dreamy yet purposeful. The world feels different in your presence because you remind it that truth can be beautiful and beauty can be truthful. Zodiac Compatibility Snapshot. Compatibility, for someone born on October 12th, is less about surface traits and more about rhythm, the music of minds, the tempo of laughter, the harmony between independence and intimacy. You are ruled by Venus, the planet of love and aesthetics, but your heart beats to the rhythm of intellect as much as emotion. For you, attraction begins in the mind, deepens through conversation, and only then blooms into passion. Relationships are not cages but canvases, places where connection becomes creation. Your best matches, Gemini, Aquarius, Leo, and Sagittarius, all understand and celebrate this rhythm. With Gemini, you share wit and curiosity. Conversations with them are electric, a dance of ideas that keeps you endlessly intrigued. They challenge your intellect and mirror your playfulness, though you must guard against becoming so lost in banter that you forget to ground emotionally. With Aquarius, you find shared ideals, a meeting of visionaries. They admire your diplomacy and you admire their originality. Together, you form a partnership built on freedom, respect, and shared humanitarian dreams. This is a connection of equals, both forward-thinking and unconventional. Leo brings passion and flair into your world. Their confidence complements your charm, creating a dynamic blend of charisma and grace. With Leo, love feels theatrical, every moment larger than life, filled with affection and devotion. You bring balance to their fire, helping them listen as much as they shine, while they remind you to celebrate yourself without guilt. With Sagittarius, the connection is one of joy and adventure. You share a mutual hunger for experience, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. Together, you learn, explore, and grow, teaching each other that love can be both freeing and grounding. These signs understand your need for stimulation and respect your individuality. They don't cage your spirit, they fan its flames. But not every sign can keep up with your subtle intensity. With Cancer, emotional tides can run too deep. Their sensitivity, though beautiful, may overwhelm your need for balance. You may feel responsible for their moods, which can create quiet exhaustion. Capricorn, though reliable and wise, can at times feel too rigid for your fluid nature. They value structure where you crave spontaneity, and their realism may dull your creative sparkle unless both learn to compromise. Pisces, dreamy and idealistic, may seem like a soulmate at first. Both of you love beauty and imagination, but their emotional depth can sometimes blur your sense of clarity. You seek partnership that inspires, they seek union that dissolves boundaries. The difference, though subtle, can become profound over time. Still, even challenging matches are teachers, not punishments. The zodiac's dance is not about avoiding friction but learning from it. And in your case, your soul teacher is Aries, your cosmic opposite. Aries stands at the other end of your Libra scale, embodying courage, raw authenticity, and directness. Where you seek harmony, they seek action. Where you weigh, they leap. They enter your life like a gust of wind, sometimes unsettling, sometimes exhilarating, to remind you that peace is not the absence of motion but the mastery of it. Aries teaches you to be brave enough to choose, to act without overthinking, to risk vulnerability for the sake of truth. Your connection with Aries, though intense, is sacred. It reveals the parts of yourself that hide behind diplomacy. Their fire provokes your air, creating sparks of transformation. They show you that balance is not always gentle. Sometimes it's forged in the heat of confrontation, in the courage to stand fully in your truth. In return, you teach Aries the power of reflection, the art of patience, the beauty of consideration. Together, you are the meeting of fire and air, passionate, unpredictable, yet capable of creating pure light when in harmony. In love and friendship alike, your soul thrives where conversation is deep, laughter is frequent, and respect is mutual. You seek not control but connection, not possession but partnership. Whether it's a Gemini's curiosity, an Aquarius's ideals, a Leo's fire, a Sagittarius's optimism, or even an Aries's challenge, what matters most is that your spirit feels seen, your voice feels heard, and your freedom feels honored. You were born under the sign of balance, but your relationships are anything but static. They are symphonies, rich, layered, and evolving, teaching you that the most beautiful harmonies arise not from sameness, but from contrast skillfully composed. Final cosmic reflection. To be born on October 12th is to carry the light of harmony in a world that thrives on chaos. You are the artist of balance, the lover of truth, and the dreamer who dares to make beauty a way of life. Your journey is not about perfection, it's about learning that real balance comes from motion, not stillness. So, whenever you feel torn between heart and mind, remember this: you were born under a sky that taught you to hold both, and make music out of the tension between them.